What's up, fam? Hope you're doing fantastic out there today. Today we are taking a look at some new from Ferramonster. You guys know I'm a huge fan of these guys. I really love everything that I've handled from them. Some slightly more than others, but the most recent releases have been absolute bangers. We are taking a look. First, we're going to look at the Glideman CP. So this is the new kind of budgeter version of the Glideman. And then we are looking at their newest release, their newest design, the Spectrum. We'll take a look at that last because we'll spend more time with that. You guys have seen me unbox these knives. We're not going to take any time doing that. Let's go ahead and jump into the knives. So again, this is the Glideman CP. I do not know what the CP stands for. I'm sure someone out there does. I didn't ask them. I quite honestly don't really care. Looking at micarta, there are a bunch of different versions of this thing. Just a quick roundup for this knife. Looking at a 3-inch blade, 3.05 inches. You're going to be less than that because of the finger choil on your cutting edge. 7.19 inches overall, so right in that sweet spot for me. And 3.8 ounces. This does use 154 cm. They're running that 154 at 59 to 61. Again, this is canvas micarta. They offer a couple of different options. They have a black canvas micarta with the satin blade here. Then they offer a blue canvas micarta with black blade and a brown canvas micarta with a black blade. All options are $129. Of course, you can use my code BE.EDC and get yourself 10% off of that. So save yourself a couple of bucks. If I'm honest, you guys know I always am, I think the price tag on these are a little high. I would like to see this be, $100, quite honestly, for the materials and what I can see, what I've seen with this company so far and what I know they're able to do. So maybe they can do a revision on this and do the 14C and the micarta. Keep the knife exactly the same and just drop it into the Wixco brand, with the 14C and drop it under $100. There's an awful lot of 14C 154 cm knives out there for under $100. Now, granted, this one is done very, very well. It's just, like I said, when you compare it with other Chinese OEMs, they are, they're a little on the high side. Even if it was just, if it was 110 and then knock the 10% off, to bring it under that $100 mark, then that would certainly be more acceptable. That being said, I don't think anybody's going to be really mad at paying the price for this. I do think that you're not getting hurt doing at it. With the with that 100 and what's it going to be? It's $130. So 120, or 115 bucks. Let's just say, for this knife, I really don't think you're getting hurt. But ideally, I would like to see it under that $100 price point. To your door. But let's go ahead and talk about the knife a little bit more. Let's go ahead and do our close-up on it really quickly, and then we'll get on to the other knife. So really nice micarta here, nice and grippy. This is kind of a Merlot colored. They call it red, but it's more purple to me. You do have a brass backspacer here. Actually, I think it might just be titanium that's anodized because it doesn't feel that weighty, but it definitely looks like it's brass or copper. But wire pocket clip, non-reversible, so I think that was a miss from these guys as well. They should have definitely made this reversible. When you're using a wire pocket clip, it's just easy. Why not do it? Really missed an opportunity there. T8 hardware, of course. Same stuff we're used to from Ferramonster. Great lockup, great centering. And again, just as before with the previous version, sharpening is great, very sharp. Plunge grind is good, because of the finger choil there. Great ergonomics. Honestly, I think the action is better on this one than the titanium version that I had, just because of being the liner lock. The detent's tuned way better on this particular version. Flipper works really nicely. I would still probably flipper delete this version if I had it, or if I kept it. This will likely, be kept for a while and may end up in a giveaway or something of that nature. I really do think that the micarta version, I do like the micarta version better than the titanium version that I handled. So, take that with a grain of salt, however you want to. But really awesome knife. I absolutely do love this knife. So definitely pick one up if it's one that you like. Again, I think that the micarta version is the one to get, just in my opinion. So Let me know what y'all think on that. But the one to get, in my opinion, is right here. Let me go ahead and clean this blade off a little bit here. Bear with me just a moment, guys, because this is one of them blades that you want to see cleaned up and pretty. Clean it up a little bit there. So this is the Spectrum. So this is their latest release, you know, their newest design, and they absolutely knocked this thing out of the park. I mean, just really, really fantastic job on this knife. 3.31 inches on your blade, 7.56 inches overall, so the perfect blade length, or perfect length in my opinion. A 7.5 inch blade fits my hand perfectly. And then 2.95 ounces, so over 3 inches on the blade, under 3 ounces on the weight. You really can't get much better than that. So this is one of the better crossbar locks that I've handled in quite some time. They've done a really great job with this. So, you know, you guys know I'm not the biggest crossbar lock fan, but when they're done well, they're done well. Yeah, they're good knives. What's made me dislike crossbar locks is the sheer overwhelming amount of bad crossbar locks. How, you know, they've just been flooded the market with them, and they're 75% of them are subpar. You know, they have mushy junk action, and I don't enjoy that. This one's done well. You know, you guys know I'm a fan of the Kershaw Duralock. I think they do those very, very well. CGRB does a great crossbar lock. Concept does a great crossbar lock. It's just, you know, there's so many companies that are, you know, phoning them in, and you know, they're very easy to do well if you just take the time to engineer them the right way. Anyway, off of that soapbox, talking about the Spectrum. Price tag on these, you are looking at $298 for the carbon fiber versions, or the titanium versions are $288. True DLC here on the blade on this one. This has the copper foil carbon fiber. They do offer 3 other versions. They have a hand satin with marble carbon fiber. That one only weighs 2.77 ounces. So a little bit lighter on that one, I guess just because the carbon fiber weighs less. And then they have 2 titanium offerings. Both of those are 3.62 ounces. They have a black titanium with DLC, and then the raw titanium with the hand satin. Those are your offerings. I would have had the pictures of those flown up there for you guys to check out. Let's go ahead and jump into close-ups on this knife and get into the meat and potatoes here. Really nice contoured carbon fiber here. Just absolutely great job on that. Really nicely finished, flush screws. No issues there. They did miss an opportunity here by not putting a filler tab. I did mention that to them. I don't know if that's something they're going to do in future renditions or not, but I do think they should have put a filler tab in here at that price point. It should have been a given. There shouldn't have been any question about that. But you know, it is what it is. I believe we'll have a titanium backspacer here, if I'm not mistaken. Titanium pocket clip that works very, very well. T8 hardware everywhere on this knife. Really, again, really nice pocket clip. Really well done grip here on these crossbar on the crossbar. Thumb studs, again, are done very well. Let's get those where y'all can see those. Very similar to what we've seen on some of their other versions, some of their other knives in the Wixco brand now. So they've been working on those thumb studs. So again, you have a satin blade underneath this DLC, so you can see those grind lines underneath that DLC. DLC just blows out the camera, so I apologize, guys. I tried to adjust my lighting before doing this video. It's just there's no way of doing it with polished DLC. So just absolutely gorgeous. And you can always tell DLC, true DLC, by how it smudges you with your fingerprints, how it kind of gets that oil slick look with the fingerprint. That is almost how you can always tell DLC. PVD will just not look like that. Plunge grind is it's not great, but I do like the stylized plunge grind there. That does look really cool, but it's just not a great plunge grind. But you do have plenty of room for sharpening. You won't have to worry about removing your studs or anything like that. Sharpening on this thing it is a laser beam. This thing is super, super sharp. Looks even. Everything looks good on there. There we can see, again, one of the reasons why this is such a good crossbar lock. So you can see we talked about that previously. And I believe it was the Bel Air video, but you see how that's shaped more, it's got a more dramatic upsweep before it kicks down. So that gives you a better interaction point right there. So it kind of loads that spring up more. So you can have a lighter spring like this and still have a very snappy very capable, very good action on a crossbar lock knife without having a super heavy spring and without having really mushy action. So really, really nice job on this knife. I am excited to see what they continue to do here. Very functional jimping, perfect ergonomics. Like I said, this 7.5-inch blade is my sweet spot. It just fits my hand like a dream. I guess if I had to nitpick anything, I'd like to see that jimping come out a little bit further. I do have to kind of crunch back a little bit to get onto that jimping. If it was out there just a little bit further, it would be perfect for me. You can kind of choke up here if you need to. I don't know why you would, but if for whatever reason you need to, you can kind of get a trigger pull grip there. But the way they've done the contouring and the way they've done the chamfering and everything, the finger grooves and all that done on this knife, make it just an ergonomic dream. God, this thing is so good. I have really, really fallen in love with this knife. I've had a hard time taking it out of my pocket. I have carried other knives, but this one is typically riding along with me usually. I just really wanted to put it through its paces and make sure that, you know, with it again being this company's first crossbar lock, I didn't want there to be something crazy happen like a mega spring failure or anything like that. So I don't recall if it came with extra Omega springs. Let me check that really quick for you guys. Okay, it did not come with extra Omega springs, but again, Ferramonster's customer service is really, really good. So if you do have issues, of course, just reach out to them. Now, again, talking about you know, just some great stuff about this knife. It came just absolutely scary sharp. I mean, it was really, really, really sharp out of the box. I have used this knife a considerable amount. I've carried it a lot for work and whatnot, and I've got some junk all over it still. I'm sitting here trying to get the tape gunk off of it as we speak. The DLC has held up very well. I've used it for cutting cardboard, a few other things, plastic straps, stuff like that. I haven't had any issues with edge rolling or anything like that. It has stayed sharp. It is still very sharp. I don't have any defects that I can feel in the edge. I don't have any, well, I guess I kind of do have some paper. Make sure it ain't got any information on it. Just some junk mail. We all know we all get those credit approvals and junk in the mail, but it is, I mean, it just shaved the paper there, but it is really, really sharp right out of the box. And this thing, like I said, it has been used, not an excessive amount, but I have used it quite a bit at work, again, for cardboard, you know, those plastic binding straps and stuff like that. So again, no issues whatsoever. Hardware check. We are looking at all T8s with the exception of the thumb stud screw. Great job on that. I have literally zero major issues with this knife. If I had 2 nitpicks, that's it. So filler tab, if you're going to make it lefty, make it a filler tab. And then I would like to see them do a double-sided pivot, like you know, most crossbar, some crossbar locks have, where it's a barrel, and then the you know, you can unscrew either side of the pivot, so you can remove the screw, remove the scales, and get to your Omega springs easily. That would be very nice, very helpful. It's not a deal breaker, I mean, but it would be nice. So if they do a rendition too, Ferramonster, if you guys are watching, hopefully you guys are, but you know, that would be my two things. You know, look into doing, if you're going to do a crossbar lock, look into doing that double tooled pivot where you can take either side off and you have the barrel still there, and then doing the filler tab. So anyway, guys, that's all I've got. Again, Ferramonster, if you guys are watching, fantastic job. Y'all absolutely knocked this out of the park. This is a knife that I will honestly likely buy another version of. I probably will buy the titanium and hand satin version, or maybe the hand satin carbon fiber version. I don't know. The biggest reason I wanted this one was because I wanted to see how you know, how these guys are, how you know, how Ferramonster does their DLC. This is their first DLC knife, and you know, these guys have been doing OEM work for other companies for 20 years. If you guys didn't know that, you know, they just started their own company, you know, I think 4 or 5 years ago. But they've been doing OEM work for 20 years, I believe since 2004. It says it on their bio page on their website. But yeah, I mean, they've been doing other work for big companies, big knife manufacturers in China for forever. And you can tell they put that work in. They're putting that knowledge into these knives, and it really, really, really shows. So again, great job. Anyway, guys, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. As always, please remember to be kind, be humble, be EDC. Take care.